Hey guys, welcome back to another Modern Warfare 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking more about this Dark Water campaign mission. Call of Duty put out a new blog post about this, and they detailed a bunch of stuff about it, as well as new features within Modern Warfare 2, and it's a very interesting read. So this is something that we're going to be sharing here on the channel. Now, it's kind of interesting though, because we're going to be going over Dark Water again. It's the same exact campaign mission, dude, we haven't seen anything from any other campaign missions. We've seen a couple missions, but this is what this. We already did a video about this. Remember this? That we had the gameplay put out. It was 8 minutes of gameplay or something like that. And then the next day, they also put out a blog post detailing, what happened during that mission. We already made a video about that. So here we are again doing another video. So here we go. Here's what they say about this. Title of this is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, a deep dive into making Dark Water, featuring Infinity Ward and Activision Shanghai. What goes into making a Call of Duty campaign mission? To celebrate Modern Warfare 2 single-player mode being available up to a week before launch via pre-order early access, we sit down with lead developer Infinity Ward and Activision Shanghai to break down what went into making one of its levels, Dark Water. 24 hours after the pulse-pounding reveal of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the community got its first look at one of the game's campaign levels, Dark Water. They say the Dark Water video is known as a vertical slice in game development, an internal playable demo that serves as a major pre-release milestone. It showcases a small game portion in its intended final state, highlighting core features, visuals, audio, and overall player experience for the studio, its publisher, and in this case, millions of fans to see what the developers want to make reality everyone can enjoy. In choosing this campaign level to show off, Infinity Ward set the tone for what Modern Warfare 2 is, a visually stunning, action-packed game that you'll have fun with this October 28th, or up to a week earlier if you digitally pre-order and take advantage of the campaign early access. Simply put, it's way more complicated than it looks. With the help of developers from lead studio Infinity Ward and partner studio Activision Shanghai, this is what went into making the Dark Water campaign mission and a glimpse into creation of Modern Warfare 2. Dark Water balances being completely realistic while being completely ludicrous, said Rich Farley, lead level designer who worked at Infinity Ward for nearly a decade. You preach the oil rig, get up there, ascend, and that feels like clean house in the last game, Modern Warfare 2019. Military guys doing military stuff. And in the second half of the level, you're doing a ramp jump into the back of a moving ship. Somehow we make it work together and make it pretty badass. From a game designer that brings up level ideas, to an artist that draws out concept scene, to a producer keeping everyone on schedule and collaborating, to the QA tester who identifies critical issues, every member of a game studio is critical to development. The intro of Dark Water is a collaboration across departments that everyone here should be proud of, said Candace Harris, a senior producer at Infinity Ward. She started out as a QA tester before the release of the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and steps into her current role after being a producer on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. The animation team has to create the animations for the characters, boats, and faces. The lighting team has to go in there, light and everything, and make sure you can see what's going on. The VFX and tech art guys did the water and atmosphere, and even at the beginning we created a concept paint over that was our end goal of the look and feel of everything. That's just what we see in the game. What about the audio? That too needs extreme precision and detail, according to senior lead audio designer Dave Rowe. Chris Eager, senior sound designer, prototyped some hydrophone microphone techniques on a lake and recorded a killer boat sound which is used in the intro and middle sections of the mission. He explained, we also needed rain, and a lot of it. Chris Staples, senior sound designer, recorded sounds of precipitation and implemented rain emitters throughout the mission. The results are exceptionally immersive, as Chris explains. As you are walking by things, you hear and feel the rain around you in a realistic way. We recorded a lot of water movement and other sound design elements, and I got to use some of my own ocean wave recordings throughout the mission. It was a traditional media piece, a film or TV show. The process would end there, but for a video game, it's about making this realistic world playable too. As April Friesen, a designer at Infinity Ward who helped create the mission, described, the creation of the oil rig was relatively straightforward, using footage of smaller oil rigs for a layout and speaking to their military consultants on how their teams would clear it. The team had one half of the level down. The cargo ship was a whole different beast. Almost every department had to help out to make this playable. We had to get moving containers to push the player, get AI to react to the moving containers and path around them realistically, etc. Not only that, but the gameplay we aimed for required us to rip apart the ship we had already built to make it at least 4 times bigger, along with redesigning all the combat to reflect the new space. It's way more complicated than it looks. We're talking about the physics of these scenic objects moving back and forth, making their speeds of them feel right, making it feel like they have proper friction on the deck. That's the visual surface level of it. Now as we throw AIs in there, and as we have a gunfight, do they take cover? How do they know where the containers are at any given time? How do we control this whole thing? Make no mistake, game development is not easy, but together this collection of veterans and fresh talent coming together with experience from the past games, film, and TV production, and elsewhere, collaborate to make this all possible. There's tons and tons of iteration on this level, said Patrick Hagar, a 16-year Activision veteran and expert VFX artist at Infinity Ward. That work ends up benefiting other levels. Some of the big water splashes we put in for Dark Water, elements of that, might show up as boat effects elsewhere. It's also a lot of sharing where you're at with the team, said Daniel Stern, an expert VFX technical artist with an extensive commercial, TV, and computer science background. Everyone chimes in and has different ideas, and that works great for us. One of the great things about this project is that there is not a lot of wasted work. That's built into the schedule. This time around, we said that everything we make is what we're going to ship. We built many milestones into the schedule, and we have enough of those to where we can slowly bring the quality up into the end so we don't have this steep hill to climb during the final months of game production. Improvements you can see and hear. This world-class collection of talent worked together to create Darkwater and the rest of Modern Warfare 2 using its game engine. As mentioned at the game's reveal, the team is using one unified Call of Duty engine across the franchise, starting with Modern Warfare 2 and the next iteration of Warzone, and builds upon the engine from Modern Warfare 2019 with the best tech from across the studios to deliver the most advanced engine ever in Call of Duty. Darkwater shows off the most advanced Call of Duty yet. Knowing the context behind that statement is as simple as taking a closer look and listening to realize how far the franchise has come. Take Call of Duty Ghosts, another multi-generational game that numerous developers including Farley, Harris, and Hagar remember creating nearly a decade ago. Ghosts had its own water-based campaign mission, Into the Deep. Because of the technology available in 2013, it was well out of the scope to create realistic water physics and graphics, along with, of course, that infamous fish AI, while still having the technical resource and memory space to have the rest of the game run at the Call of Duty standard 60 frames per second. It was a cool experience, but it wasn't like real water, Fairley said, so it was kind of a goal set by the team to be able to create this new gameplay experience that we could spread across the different modes. Realistic water was a focus this year for Infinity Ward, and with the help of an updated engine, they were able to create something that would look authentic as you are careening on an inflatable boat across multiple platforms. The biggest thing that helped us with our lighting was the new shadow system, a senior lighting artist explained. This project, the engine helped us introduce something called PCSS, or Percentage Closer Soft Shadows, which allows us to have soft shadows on high-end PCs, but also next-gen hardware too. There is also a lot of improvements in our volumetric rendering system to solve volumetric fog so it renders better with our ambient lights and stuff. We have volumetric particles too, Hagar added. Instead of just having like these flat sprites, which most of our effects have always been, we're mixing actual volumetric particles to help fill it out. And that's important for us to make those big splashes on the ship. This new engine also opens itself up to better sound capture. As Rowe said, the audio team can now approach missions and other elements of the game like someone in Hollywood would mix a film. The mission is comprised of a lot of water sounds which typically present mix issues because they are so wideband and noisy. In order to avoid frequency masking of important commands and movements, we can use engine features like real-time mixing and natural limiting to help control the mix and focus the player on the important task at hand. This helps push the narrative and draw the player through the mission. But of course we know it's something you must feel to know this engine is the most impressive yet. We push the quality here for every game. We try to make it more real and more perfect. People sometimes say, oh, it's just another Call of Duty game, but it's not. There's so much work that people are not aware of for the AI, the environment, scanning, making lighting more realistic. Working across time zones with Activision Shanghai. Making a game like Call of Duty takes more than just one studio. For Modern Warfare 2, lead developer Infinity Ward partnered with Activision Shanghai among others. We don't just throw some stuff over and say, do this work. All teams are invested in it. They give us feedback on what they think would work better. It's a two-way street. Among other features and processes, Activision Shanghai is an instrumental part of getting the game's textures built via photogrammetry into Modern Warfare 2. All newly made textures are created using high-resolution scan photos. We achieve high-quality visual performance by combining them and adding subtle details, but some required materials do not have a one-to-one corresponding basic scan files. Some textures are combined with fine-tuning to achieve a higher quality visual performance, but no tool can replace an artist. Within the Call of Duty development process, artists from both studios and others work to make Modern Warfare 2 have high visual fidelity while maintaining 60 FPS. Having developers around the world allowed the team to tackle this task. The time zone difference won't stop us from actively collaborating. It's actually not a disadvantage from our point of view. We take turns so tasks will be finished more efficiently. It's in this way of looking at work spread out across global studios and in home offices during the pandemic that allows Modern Warfare 2 to become this finely polished game that you'll be able to experience in less than 80 days. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and this team is probably the best collection of developers I've worked with all in one place. With all of us scattered across the four winds working remote, with the energy of this team, we've pulled an incredible game together. They say additional intel to come, pre-orders available now. They say you can experience, yada yada yada, the campaign a week early by pre-ordering it digitally. And yeah, so that was a whole announcement they talked about earlier today. We're going to be specifically going over that in a separate video, so if you guys want to know more about that, you guys can go and check that out. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I still prefer like those old school blog posts they did for Modern Warfare 2019. They did several of those. I covered those all on my channel back 3 years ago, where it was really cool. They put out like a blog post like every week detailing new tech features that were happening with Modern Warfare 2019 and new things that are happening with the engine about like photogrammetry and audio and stuff. And they kind of detail it a little bit here, but they had like full huge articles like really diving into the like technical details of the new engine stuff. And yeah, it was really interesting. So if you guys still haven't seen that, you guys should definitely go and check that out, because a lot of that still applies here. I mean, obviously this game is just based off of that one. It's an iteration of that, based on that same engine. They just, continue to advance it and update it with new features and, new technology and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, though. That is the newest blog post we have here going on here about what it takes to actually build Modern Warfare 2's campaign and a Call of Duty game in general. And it's kind of interesting. I never thought of that before, is how their studios are spread out across the world and how they work through different time zones, which, I mean, like they said here, like it actually kind of works to their advantage because they can be very efficient, and with the time zone spread out, it's like when one team gets done with like their shift basically for the day, the other team is like waking up and they're like starting their shift. So it's pretty efficient that way. You can just kind of go around and around. And so it'll be really curious to see how that affects like the actual release later this year with stuff like updates and stuff. Like, are updates going to come out more consistently for that? Because I mean, now you can in theory have like almost people working on this game 24 hours a day, just spread out across all these studios around the world. So really interesting stuff though, guys. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll be back with more Modern Warfare 2 videos, as well as Warzone 2 and a whole ton of other stuff. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.